Hey there guys, what is going on? Gale Riot here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Memoria Freese video, and today we're going to be doing the should you summon for the new units that have come out for New Year's. We have the Valhalla Panic banners out now, and I hope you guys go on to enjoy this video. If you do so, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course leave a comment down below. Are you guys planning on summoning on these banners or not? And let me know why you might not be planning on summoning on these banners, because in all honesty, I have some very good reasons why you shouldn't be summoning on these banners. Anyways, let's get into the banners themselves and let's go over the units, shall we? So we have the Heaven banner and then we have the Shangri-La banner. So let's go over the Heaven banner first. The Heaven banner features, well, my face is covering it, but it features Aphrodite, Hegni, and Alan. So some good units. These three are some decent units. In particular, I would point out towards Hegni and I would point out towards Alan primarily. Those two in particular. Now, we'll start with Aphrodite, however, because she is the first unit on the left, but she is a water magic attack type unit, basically, which is very similar to what she was when she first came out in the 4th anniversary. This is also the first time we've gotten Aphrodite since the 4th anniversary run and rerun. So, in all honesty, if you are a player who needs the CP for Aphrodite, this is not a bad opportunity to get her. Now, of course, there are two other units on this banner, so there is a little bit of risk in that, but that's something to consider potentially. But anyways, Aphrodite, what does she do? So her special arts, Gorgeous Party Night, is AoE Ultra Water Magic Attack with temporary grade magic boost and Ultra on guard rate, and remove status buffs and charm resist and water resist minus 60%. Okay, so effectively you can already realize what she's going to be doing with her kit by her special arts, and she's going to be very charm focused. She's going to be part of the ailment squad basically. Her kit itself also does kind of lend into that and also lend into dealing some damage as well though, because for example, Goddess's Cry, ally slow removes magic, agility, and MRes debuffs, so basically you can protect yourself a little bit. It's gonna go slow, so it'll probably go last no matter what. And on top of that, she gives herself P-Res and M-Res 60% for 6 turns, which is kind of the norm this day and age. I mean, you look at the Hero Festa units, you look at these units, you look at some of the earlier releases we got a couple of weeks ago and a month ago. A lot of units are starting to do these 6-turn skills, and it's something that they're going to start promoting a lot more, I feel, from here on out. And plus 4 actions of mid-water magic attack and ultra on guard rate, and removes magic, agility, and MRes buffs, and 35% charm on foes. Very interesting. So effectively what you're doing with this first ability is basically you're effectively removing all your buffs. I mean, this is again, like I said, it wouldn't be a Gale Riot video if it wasn't if it didn't have do not disturb on or off, I should say, and then I have to turn it on. Anyways, back to the kit itself. But yeah, S1 is very much indicating, you know, trying to power yourself up for that second turn and ensure that when you're getting that second turn off, you're basically removing any MRes buffs on the enemy through her second skill. Now, her second skill is a AoE super water magic attack with temporary magic boost and ultra encounter rate and 35% charm, and self magic dexterity and water attack damage plus 70% for 4 turns. Again, an indication of charm being a very, very vital piece of her kit, because what you're gonna do is Dance of Beauty is gonna go off in the second turn, so that's gonna be a 35% charm chance, and then her additional actions also have 35% chance of charm. So there's a lot of charm here going on, and that's her kit primarily. There's really nothing else. I mean, you look at the entirety of it, even her third skill, which is a single target, has charm on it. It isn't scaling off a magic boost or a strength boost or anything of that sort. Well, it wouldn't be strength boost, but anything of that sort. So the one thing I would say about this unit is that it's a very intriguing unit, but it's not something I would say is phenomenal. I mean, if I were to put her in my tier list, I would probably say maybe A, just somewhere in the middle of A is where I would put her. I don't think this is a meta unit by any means of the imagination. Now, I could be wrong, and you know, some of the veteran players might be able to use her in a fantastic way, because Magic teams can be manipulated really well to work, and she can be part of that potentially. But right now, based on her kit, I would say chuck her on ailment, and that's where she'll probably dominate, because Magic itself, the Magic team, has so many better options now that I don't think she would fit in that option, right? That's my problem with Aphrodite. Alright, we move on to Hegni now, and Hegni, like I said, I kind of like, in all honesty, especially for the players using Astreus, and I'll come on to why in a moment. But special arts, Faded Scratch, Ultra Dark Physical Attack with Temporary Great Strength Boost, and Ultra on God Rate, and P-Res and Dark Res minus 60% for 3 turns. Really powerful special arts, to be quite honest, and you're going to see it used quite a lot, I feel, especially in PvE content, because you're getting 60% down P-Res and Dark Res, so any Dark team is going to be dealing a lot of damage once you get those that ability off effectively. His combat skill, first one, I'm not pronouncing that, is AoE Super Dark Physical Attack with Ultra Encounter Rate and Strength, Magic, and Agility minus 40%, and that's exactly where I'm saying he's going to be a good option alongside Astreus, because you're debuffing the enemy's strength, magic, and agility, which basically boost Astreus value because, of course, stall, you know, that's gonna help a lot. And self STR with 70% for 4 turns, 3 additional actions of mid dark physical attack damage plus 40% per each self dark attack damage buff, and heal reduction skill and high penetration rate on foes. So that automatically lets you know what's coming up in the second skill. Chaos Field, allies fast dark attack damage and seal resist plus 60%, so you're helping Astreus anyways again, and heal minus 40% for 4 turns. Now, this is where things get a little bit contradictory with Hegni. You're reducing the amount of heal you get per turn for everybody on the field, including Astreus, including yourself in Hegni, and any other healing-based unit, which can be a little bit detrimental, because anyways, the healing in war games isn't the same exact healing as normal PvE content, so it's going to be effective, but I think you can kind of get away with it, especially if you build your team extremely well. And of course, he also does the same to the foes: Dark Res, Endurance, and heal minus 40%, and damage received attack type all targets plus 35% for 4 turns, and removes HP regen. That second skill of his is really powerful. I really do believe it's really strong. Outside of the weakness it has in reducing the allies' healing by 40% for 4 turns, the rest of it is very, very strong. And it also helps in basically countering ailment as well with the seal res up, right? So that's something to bear in mind. Guilty Sword, foe super dark physical attack damage plus 70% per each target's heal reduction skill, and ultra critical rate. Very powerful. Nothing to add really about that one. That's going to be a really good single target skill for sure. Now we move on to conceited host Alan from Mel, the assist, the first of the 2 assists that we have on these banners. Now his main MLB skill is allies agility plus 20% and foes damage received attack type all and single targets plus 15%. Now the thing is with him is that he's a really good option. He is a really good option, and I know most players might be wondering like, oh, why not go for him? Well, the problem with him, and this is an issue, is that there are so many units that are kind of taking up each other's spots that Alan is effectively going to be doing the 2 things or the things that Alf and the Anniversary Seer do. So Anniversary Seer, if you don't remember what she does null ailments times 4, and also gives the same attack type all and single targets plus 15% and whatnot. Now the thing is with that Seer, right? I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I'm gonna go over to that Seer just really quickly. Oh god, the story is being played. I'm skipping that. I'll watch it later on. I'll figure it out. Now the thing is with that Seer, right, and it's something that you might want to consider, is that she's a regular unit that is able to give you that null ailment times 4, because the other unit that does that is Astrea, and well, we don't have Astrea is a time limited unit, right? And also on top of that, it's a 20% AoE damage as well, not just 15%, so that's something to bear in mind. But the thing that Alan has on over Seer is, of course, that 20% agility, and I've always said agility is very, very important, right? So if you have Alan and you have the Astrea, you could go with Astrea plus Alan rather than using Seer, and instead of obviously who else would you replace? I would probably say Alf is one of the units you would probably replace, because Alf is 20% agility to self and 15% to allies, making him a little bit selfish. So usually I would say if you're running a normal team and a normal composition in war games, and you've seen them in war games, you're gonna probably see players using Alf and Seer. Now you might see players using Astrea plus Alan, so that's something to bear in mind. I think there are ways you can play this team, and Alan isn't a bad option. Honestly, he's not a bad option. He is a free-to-play option, not free-to-play. non-time limited option, I should say, not free-to-play option. He is definitely not free-to-play. He is a great non-time limited option, and I think that's going to be something to bear in mind as well, is that with of course with Alf and Seer, one of them being time limited, the other side is also the same. Astrea is time limited, but Alan isn't time limited, so that's something to bear in mind. Also, on top of that, another thing is we had Astrea's banner recently, so we don't know when her rerun's going to come back, but Alf's rerun is live right now, so that's something to also bear in mind. Anyways, that's the Heaven gacha. Now let's go over to the Shangri-La gacha. I skipped way too quickly over there. So let's look at the units themselves. So we have Seer, Hayden, and Asfi on this banner. So let's look at Asfi first and foremost, and she is the Record Buster unit for this banner. So she is a light magic unit, so she kind of actually sort of fits into the light team, not necessarily completely because of her different typing, but she is still fitting into that team in a way. Special arts is single target, ultra light magic attack damage plus 70% per each self magic buff skill, and ultra penetration rate and self magic and light attack damage plus 100% for 3 turns, and 4 additional actions of high light magic attack and removes STR and magic buffs on a foe. Really good skill, I think, in my personal opinion. Obviously very selfish in a way. Obviously a lot of players are now running Wine alongside the light Record Buster team, but you could run this unit in theory and still deal a lot of damage because you're still getting that whole light res weakness, and your cohesion is still there, even though the other light Record Buster units are physical. Belle, Finn, Lazar, Fianna, whoever you may use out of the 4 or 5 units we have, she is still going to fit in a way because of the light cohesion there. The light typing cohesion there is still very valuable. And anyways, another thing that she does with her combat skill number 1, Senton Bomb, is that she does give MRes down to the opponent, which will help. Of course, the only thing you'll be missing is from the assist side of things. That being said, this is still very powerful in my personal opinion. This is still very, very powerful. So yeah, sure, her first skill reduces MRes and critical rate by 40% for 4 turns, and then she gives 3 additional actions of removing strength and magic buffs on a foe. Her second skill, in my opinion, is the beautiful one, and I think this is where I would probably say even getting a copy of her is going to be really useful, because as a sacrificial unit, she's probably one of the best ones out there, to be quite honest, especially if you're going up against a unit that doesn't remove your buffs, like Revis, for example. Liberty Liquor is a self-fast magic light attack damage and counter rate plus 70%, and allies magic light attack damage and counter rate plus 50% for 4 turns. Now, the magic side of things really wouldn't necessarily help for a Record Buster team, but generally as well, I mean, you could use it for an AoE team in, let's say, Familiar Rush. You could use it still for Record Buster as well if you're running a light magic team, but also just generally you're giving your team light attack damage and counter rate plus 50% for 4 turns, which is really, really handy. And you know what I always say, counter rate, very, very important in Record Buster, very, very important. Her third skill is basically her strongest skill. It's a single target for a super light magic attack damage plus 60% for each self counter rate buff skill and high penetration rate, and removes MRes buffs. So pretty strong skill there. Nothing more to add really about that one. Now let's go over to Hayden, and he is also a water magic attack type unit basically. So he'll go well with Aphrodite in a way. He's very interesting because his agility is not that high, but that being said, he does give himself agility in his first skill, but I'm jumping the gun there. His special odds is foes ultra water magic attack damage plus 100% per each self magic buff skill, and ultra penetration rate and allies water attack damage plus 100% for 4 turns. Really good option for PvE. Obviously PvP, it'll come in handy as well to an extent, of course dealing a lot of damage, but primarily PvE is going to be very good with this skill for sure. His first skill is allies agility, dexterity, critical rate, and penetration rate plus 40% for 5 turns, and he gives himself 4 additional actions of mid-water magic attack and ultra penetration rate, and damage received, attack type, all and single targets reduction, and status buff minus 2 turns on foes. Pretty solid, I would say overall. Very strong skill in my personal opinion. Especially the first half, you're getting a lot of buffs there for all your allies: agility, dexterity, critical rate, penetration rate, and for a magic unit, that's really good as well in my personal opinion. So it's pretty strong. His second skill, Sword of Dignity, is a slow high water magic attack with temporary magic boost and ultra encounter rate, and damage received attack type all targets plus 40% and MRes minus 30%, and he gives himself magic 80% and water attack damage plus 60%. Now this one I'm not the biggest fan of in my personal opinion. He does do quite a lot there to help the team out with the damage received boost as well as the MRes minus 30%, but in my personal opinion this should have been a little bit better. Maybe it should have been a super attack. Maybe it should have probably had a little bit more going for it, because I don't know if most players would consider this as a great option for magic teams. Obviously I've not used magic, so I can't really be a great judge of it. It's strong, but I think it could have been stronger is the thing. That's the only thing I would say. And then his final skill is a single target high water magic attack, damage plus 80% per each self magic buff skill, and ultra penetration rate. So yeah, I mean, out of the two adventurers, I would say Astri is personally a better choice personally to me. Hedin is not bad. Of course, if you are a magic team user, let me know what you guys think about him. I want to see what your thoughts are down below in the comments. But yeah, that's my personal opinion, is I would say Astri is a little bit better. Now we look at Seer Flover, our second assist of the banners, and she is pretty darn strong. So foes STR and magic minus 25% and self 3 instant effects of when magically attacked, 40% HP heal, and removes MRes debuffs on allies once per turn. Really powerful for stall teams. Honestly, this is going to be something a lot of players should go for if you're running a stall team. You're getting that debuff, first and foremost, the STR and magic debuff, and you're getting a counter ability on top of that, because a lot of people, what they do when they're running a sort of stall team is they're using the Hestia that we got, what was it, 3rd anniversary, which is, one second, I'll show you guys which Hestia I'm exactly talking about. But people are using that Hestia primarily, right? And a couple of other options are there as well. But when you're looking at a stall team, this is the Hestia that you normally see. Where is she? If I can spot her and I'm not blind, I would probably say this. There we go. So people run this Hestia, Celebration Goddess Hestia, minus 20% STR and magic, and then allies counter rate plus 10%. Not bad. Of course, there are some other options as well that I'm pointing out, but usually whenever I see a stall team, I tend to see that more so than anything else. That being said, the Seer is phenomenal. You effectively also protect yourself from magic teams primarily, which can be the biggest issue for a lot of teams generally, because kind of it's one of those teams that goes, well, it's not necessarily under the radar because a lot of people use it, but it does tend to go sometimes under the radar, and there's no real protection from it. This assist effectively gives that protection. So I expect to see a lot of people using the Seer and a lot of people summoning for the Seer in particular. Now, should you summon on either banner? In my opinion, no. I will be very honest and say no, you should not, because I will be very honest and say you have a lot of banners that are either released or coming out. So first and foremost, I mean, I have to obviously point out the what's it called, the elephant in the room. First and foremost, I'm not talking about even anything else. This banner, first and foremost, is still live. If you haven't been able to get all your currencies yet, make sure you finish it off. Get to the 20th step at the very minimum. You need to do that. That's the priority here. This is the banner you need to go for. Now, another banner that is going to be coming out. It's not out this week. It'll be coming out next week if I'm not mistaken. And that is the second, or well, I say second, the third part of the Knights of Fianna rerun banners. And there you're gonna see a lot of units, right? Units like Alf, for example, I mentioned him. You've got Alkitian, you've got Finn, you've got Galmus. So many options there that are immense for any player, honestly. So that is coming out next week. And then on top of that, we have the Astray record potentially coming out in about 2-3 weeks time, where we don't know how their buffs are going to be. Their buffs could be insane. So that is also something to look forward to. And then of course in the future we might get a Hero Festa and stuff like that. So I would say don't summon on this banner. Personally, I would probably say it's a skip for most players. Now of course, if you have a specific unit here that you could see being fit in, maybe it's Hegni, maybe it's Seer, maybe it's Osfi, you could take the risk. And if you have the Iris for it, you could go ahead and take the risk. But in my opinion, I would say it's not worth it. Now, I would also suggest that Aphrodite is not a bad option to get, because of course this is the first time she's come back. That being said, she is a non-time limited unit, so most players can inevitably get her through the ticket update whenever it comes out in the future. it'll come out in the future, like probably in like February, March now, but it will come out in the future. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, anyways, like always, should you summon, I'm gonna do one multi on each banner. We'll see what we get here. Hopefully we get one of the I hope I get here I hope I get Alan or Aphrodite, just because of collection purposes. On the other side, I actually don't know what I want to get, to be quite honest. I have no idea what I want to get. Fingers crossed I get something decent, maybe somewhat decent, we'll see. But yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look as to what we get here. I could get a double roll as well, but I highly doubt it. I'm expecting it to be the final unit in this multi, to be quite honest. Misha, Anya, Loki, Chigusa, and this is probably our guaranteed. What is it gonna be? Is that Hegni? Yeah, it's Hegni. The one unit I didn't say I wanted, but you know, it is what it is. I'll still take it though. Hegni is pretty solid and could come in handy for the dark team, to be quite honest, at some point. Very, very good option. Very, very good unit, to be quite honest. Like I said, I really like that second skill of Hegni. I really do. I think there's really good qualities about all of these units now, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they're must-haves. And that's the situation here, where most free-to-play players, and just generally Dolphins as well, it depends on your teams as well, you shouldn't necessarily go for units that aren't must-haves. You can do a multi on each banner and stuff like that, because obviously with the weekly Record Buster or PvP / war games, and the events coming out and stuff like that, dailies as well, you will probably recover all of that currency back. But obviously it's something to be careful on, especially if you're like Seer. I was about to say, who is this? Seer. I'll take it. I like Seer, so for sure I'm taking it 100%. But yes, like I said, if you have low currency amounts, you're like less than 1,000, don't summon, you know what to do. But if you are somewhat Iris rich in a way, not like me, I'm not Iris rich. This is not me being Iris rich, I'm being an idiot. But and I'm being a collector more so. But if you are Iris rich, you could do a multi on each banner. That's absolutely fine. But more than that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Once again, appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Leave a like if you did, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.